Every successful filmmaker who has made it has paved their own path.
We have paid for our life for the last 15 years exclusively by creating commercials, content, original shorts, and most importantly, cinema.
There are a lot of challenges. We're going to talk about them.
I'm afraid film is disappearing.
Absolute corporate greed.
I'm afraid AI's taking it over.
That's standing in the way of every single artist on the planet right now. This is our map, a 3-step process for how anyone can make it in entertainment. And it's not just theory. Grab the free plug-and-play guide and try this process out in your own creative work today. Because there is really a way to make it in the industry, and I'm gonna ask you, and you should ask me at the end, is do you feel like you've made it? Because I wanna know what you think.
Oh.
And I wanna tell you what I think.
This is our experience, but it's not just our advice. It's the advice we received that got us started and walking the path.
These are the 3 steps that we feel like we took from the filmmakers that have been successful and gone before us and distilled and feel like they work.
So step 1, let's start with it, because ultimately you need to find that thing that you want to do. And it's not trying to make something for somebody else. I've said this for years. I'm probably the first person to have said it, but you need to write a story that you would enjoy reading.
Just check that out.
Myself. In other words, I tried to write a story that I would enjoy reading. So I always write to please myself.
Okay, so right, I forgot. Stanley also said
He's not
something very
original.
similar to what I just said, but that's it. The point is, maybe a better way to say it. Let me say it, the way that I would say it personally, and I'm probably the only person who said it this way, is you need to write your next favorite movie that doesn't exist. And that's how I view it.
Look, I can't worry about this movie getting made. I have to write my favorite movie that doesn't exist.
Okay, Jordan Peele said something very similar to that. The point is, what I'm saying is, find the thing that you love. And that worked for us on Alien Country.
Alien Country became something that we loved. It is a unique story, but maybe not in the way that you would expect.
Alien Country is a love story. It's not your typical love story.
Oh, so it's my fault now, huh?
No, look, I'm just saying that it takes 2 to tango.
While Rennie and I were writing Alien Country, we started to adopt this really unique thought. Romantic comedies or romance movies always were about a couple that falls in love. And there is a very specific formula that almost gets annoyingly redundant when it comes to romance movies.
You wanna write a script?
A lot of that gets shot in our backyard here in Utah. There's a lot of romance movies that come through, these kind of TV movies that come through. Rennie had been in a bunch, and we kind of had this thought one day.
Any old idiot can fall in love. It takes a real professional to stay in love. That's where this story really started to take shape.
And that became a big light bulb moment for Alien Country, which is a different kind of love story.
So we are pretty stoked. It's Memorial Day weekend, and as you may know, we've been writing and rewriting our script. We got through
pretty much just like script doctoring. Whoa! That was a rattlesnake in the road.
What?
Did you see it?
No!
Oh boy. Oh boy. I thought at first it was just a piece of paper, but then I was like, nope, it was.
I definitely did not see it.
Writing Everly was, gosh, shoot, I'm gonna cry. It was so important to write Everly as a character that I cared about. And actually, I remember Boston asking me one day, like, what would be your dream role? What would be your dream character? And, you know, I got to do fun things like make her a singer. I do sing in real life. I was like, I would love to sing in a movie. So we did it. Evening, folks. This is an original.
Awesome, and one last time.
I was able to write really a dream character in a way. I wanted her to be smart, I wanted her to be funny, really sassy, edgy. It's called the comic chameleon. But I also wanted her to be facing real problems that a lot of women face these days.
So in a traditional romantic comedy, you have a scene that's called the meet cute. They meet each other for the first time, and sometimes it's awkward, sometimes it's angry. They have this connection, but he's gonna bulldoze my cookie shop because he's part of this big corporate people from the city, and I've gotta teach him a lesson. Anyway, there's always a meet cute. But we were talking about this small town, and one thing that happens in a small town is you grow up with the people who are your age, you go to school, you spend time, and so Jimmy and Everly were these two characters that ultimately, they grew up knowing each other. We said, well, what if this couple, they kind of met in high school, they were high school sweethearts, but they never really committed to being a couple, ultimately because she never saw herself spending the rest of her life in her small town, and Jimmy kind of just assumed that's what would happen. And they didn't know that was their problem. And so we were thinking, well, what would be the great meet cute for them? Obviously, if they were forced into the next phase of their relationship, which is starting a family, and they didn't call that. So they get pregnant without planning it, and we're like, that is a great meet cute for a couple that's already been in love for a long time.
It's stuck here? I thought tonight that we... Okay, hold on.
And cut. How's it going?
We're doing it. Okay, so we did it. That's step one. We were able to find the thing that made this love story unique to us.
Right.
It made it really special to us. I feel like audiences resonated with that too. But then we had to go a step further into step two, which is how to put yourself into whatever you're making.
Take one step closer to camera this way.
Perfect. All right. And here we go. Action. And cut. You have to understand your voice, but what are the things you actually want to talk about? And this was a challenge for us because it was like, we had to figure out what was important for us to say. What are the things that we actually wanted to express? Because we can make a movie that we think is cool, but we end up just emulating or copying other people who have already made stuff out. So we had to think about, what do we want to say? And that might sound self-indulgent, but I've said this before, and I'm probably the first person to say it. You should make a self-indulgent film for your first movie because that's your special stuff. That's like your zhuzh.
Oh, is your name Mark now?
You should absolutely make a self-indulgent film for your first movie because that's your special stuff. That's like your zhuzh.
Okay, yes, Mark Duplass said something very similar in The Cavalry's Not Coming. Check out that video. But that was a challenge for us.
Yeah. Everly embodies some of my deepest fears, which is facing motherhood. Honestly, there's a scene that I love where I'm sitting on the bed with Jimmy's character and we're basically apologizing to each other, spoiler if you haven't watched it yet, for not communicating, for being scared about the future. And I have always been scared of motherhood, and now that I am a mother, I'm like, why? I really, as a person, wanted to have a meaningful career. I wanted to create a character who's strong. This is a real struggle that a lot of women face. It's like, can you have a career? Can you have a family? Can you do both?
And I think that what was really important to me and Rennie at the time we're writing this is we were married about 4 or 5 years, and there are things that we were starting to learn about how to communicate better. I needed to understand what really being there to support Rennie and her dreams means. Really, for me, I wanted to give Rennie a chance to play a character in a movie that was her dream role, right? That's what she wanted to do. And so Jimmy and Everly absolutely became this incarnation of Rennie and my relationship.
As an actress, you don't always get to play the characters you want to play. There's so many more brilliant, strong female leads these days, but they don't always come across to me. So I had to create her, and I was really grateful that I could.
I think Everly kind of took on this persona of someone who just charges ahead and doesn't ask permission and goes and does something without, communicating that she wants or needs help in that. And that's kind of a common thing that I think a lot of men and women struggle with. It's certainly something that I have, where it's that I can't perceive what it is that she needs from me. I'm not paying attention. I don't have this really keen sense of like, oh, she might be saying something, but what she really needs, and being able to unpack that. That was something that I thought was a really common struggle. And so, that became essentially the backbone of this story.
Sometimes we've gotten reviews where it's like, oh, it's a little hard to watch this couple because they're always fighting, and it's like, yeah, well, that's what couples do sometimes. And I think actually a lot of people resonate watching this couple because it seems so real. They're like, wow, they're really getting into it, Anyway, at the end of the day, Everly figures out that both are important to her, and somehow with the support of Jimmy, she can move forward and have both her dreams, have a family and have a career.
We swung for the fences on this, and that led us to our final step.
Which is step 3. Everyone who makes it in this industry goes out and makes it. They go make the thing. I think it's amazing that we are making art. We are filmmakers, and in order to make it, you literally have to make it. It sounds so simple and so like...
No, but I think that's the point. You can't control what roles are going to come to you. So you create the role. You make your opportunities. You make your own art. You make your own films. And only by doing that will you actually get to a place where people start paying you so that you can continue to make art as your full-time living.
Well, I feel the same thing for being a director. Like, you had to create your own opportunity to be a feature film director. Nobody was going to hand that to you on a silver platter. And now that you've done it, let's just say the doors are opening.
Okay, we need to ask ourselves the hard question, and this is the maybe brutal question. We made a movie, we launched it. Do you feel like you've made it in the film industry, in entertainment?
I'm nervous to answer this. I don't know why.
No, well, tell me. Like, what are you nervous about?
I'm nervous that future Rennie is going to be like,
I'm gonna regret this. I'm gonna 100% regret
What
this.
a dork. Barring, I don't know, the end of the world or something, I feel like we're making it. You don't normally see people in this stage of the process. I feel like most of the time, you like hear of somebody who's made it and they've been grinding for a long time.
Years, decades.
Yeah, whether or not they're like a child actor, or I feel like that happens a lot. Like a young starlet, arrives and you're like, oh, this person appeared overnight. No, they've probably been working since they were 3, guys. Like, come on. So I feel like we're making it and we're on the path and we're on the journey. We just got to keep grinding.
Yeah.
Keep making really good work. Yeah, it's your turn. So Boston, do you feel like we've made it?
I think there's a lot of check marks. There's a lot of milestones that we've hit over our career. Earning a full-time living just using a camera to make content, right? Like that was a milestone I hit pretty early on in my career. And then it moved. There was a goal to make a feature film and to release that. And that goal we hit. And in that moment, it's like, yeah, we've arrived. We're making original, long-form content. We pushed to hit that milestone. So in that way, yes, we made it. And we've accomplished that. And I think that I didn't understand, if I could go back in time and tell myself 10 years ago what you actually need to do if you want to be a director, if you want to be an actor, you need to become a producer, and making it requires making a body of work.
Absolutely spectacular.
You're not making one movie, you're gonna make at least 5, but most likely 10, 15, or 20, and that's how you've ultimately made a career in the film industry.
I think there's a reason why most actors have their own production companies, or when you see a big movie, you see the actors' names in the producer spot or the executive producer spot. Same with directors.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're not just an actor. A lot of times these people are producer directors or producer actors. So I feel like in that way, we are modeling what successful people have done. We are doing the thing. I actually, growing up, never dreamed of being a producer. That was not like a thing I thought I could do or that I wanted to do. And now it's like how I identify. So I think in that way, we've made it.
But it is difficult. Filmmaking isn't something you get to do alone. And
yeah, you need an army.
Yeah, and you need partners. The single most important thing, and the reason I am now unnecessarily filming a vlog with an anamorphic lens, is to say, if you want to go out and make it, and that means make your next narrative project, whether it's a sketch, a short film, or a feature, you can do it. You just need that map. For step 3 to happen, you need to understand the process, but just as important, you need to find your people. That means your team, your partners. And we, Rennie and myself, we want to help you get there, which is why we've created and are giving away for free what we call our Indie Filmmakers Starter Kit. It has all of our story templates, pitch decks, production tools, and step-by-step guides and videos so that you can start, finish, and actually release your film. It's 100% free. Check that out, link in the description. But really, what's so awesome about film is you get to connect with people and find your partners, and that is the key.
I love you because you're helping me live my dream.
And I honestly, to say it as plainly, is like Alien Country and my dreams couldn't happen without you.
I feel the same way. Like, we wouldn't have made this. I would not have been able to make this movie without you.
How just amazing is it to get to work with me all the time?
It's so awesome working with Boston day in and day out. Actually, Boston and I are really good at working together. We don't really know the difference of not working together. We started a YouTube channel back in a long time ago. So we've worked together for, 14 years now. And I will say Alien Country has tried us through and through more than once. It's been a very difficult ride, but anything is possible with a little bit of communication skills and some therapy and just love and a sense of humor.
Yeah, you don't even have to make movies together to go to therapy. You can just go to therapy.
You just therapy's a good thing for everybody.
It's funny because a lot of critics will watch the film and they'll be like, just a popcorn movie. And then some people go, it's a popcorn movie, but it's surprisingly deep. And it's nice to know in those instances that those basic things that we're trying to put in there and we're sugarcoating with creatures and jokes, that core essential part of the story, that was the first part of the story.
It's been a chapter. I think we figured out that we've been working on this movie really like proactively for half of our marriage, and we've been dreaming about the movie since like the time we've gotten together. So a little bit crazy.
And I think it's also important to remember that when we were first writing Alien Country, the aliens weren't part of it. It was always going to be about this couple. It was always going to be about Jimmy and Everly. And so everything else that came and went, the action sequences, but all of the things that are in there were set dressing, for this essentially human story and this, what we like to call, different kind of love story.
We're making a movie.
We're doing it.
Ready.
You guys.
Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, make sure absolutely to like it, and we'd love to know what you want to know from us. And most importantly, are we actually good filmmakers? Please go find out. Alien Country is out, and we created a special edition with director's commentary behind the scenes, a bunch of cool special features, but also in our special edition, we don't just give away the movie, we have a game and a handbook that will help you throw the ultimate Alien Country party. So if you don't have any plans this weekend, now you do. No, but check out Alien Country. Not only does it support us, but you can have an amazing party, and all of your friends will basically think you're the coolest person that they know, and you're welcome for that. We'll see you in the next one.